Hey guys, welcome back to another AFI Friday. This time we're hitting the 99th movie on the AFI Top 100 American Movies list. Guess who's coming to dinner? But first, before we get into that review, just a quick admin note. If you do like what you see here, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps my channel out greatly. And of course, I truly appreciate everything you do to help me grow. Now, on to the review. Quick synopsis. A girl goes on a trip to Hawaii, meets and falls in love with a guy, and decides to take him home for dinner to meet the parents. Guess Who's Coming for Dinner was first released on December 12th, 1967. It was directed by Stanley Kramer and stars Sidney Poitier, Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn, and Katharine Houghton. I hope that's correct. And as always, guys, I'll try to be as upfront and honest with you in my reviews. And I just wanted to say, one, I've never seen this movie before. Two, I did see the remake of this movie back in the day. I can't even remember when it came out. And that, just goes to show you what, what I thought about that movie. But I'm going to say that Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, especially this version of it, I'd heard a few things about this movie, but I was really surprised at how this movie really was. I thought it was kind of going to be a much darker, deeper dive into how the society was back in that day. And it wasn't as dark as I thought it was going to be. It was still a great deep dive into that, how society pretty much perceived mixed couples. But I thought for sure that it was going to be a lot worse. And not saying that, not trying to give this movie any outs or anything like that, but because it's still a fantastic movie, I just thought more was going to happen in this movie than what really did. One of the first things that kind of jumped out at me in this movie was, okay, both of these people, John and Joey, went on vacation to Hawaii, or I think John maybe was there for work or whatnot, but they were there for at least 11 days because they knew each other for 11 days. And the movie only shows us one suitcase being transported, at least from the carousel to the taxi. And there might have been more. She might have had a suitcase as well. But I just can't fathom, especially, anybody taking one suitcase for at least the minimum of 11 days to Hawaii. There's got to be at least multiple ones. And I will say that it was mentioned briefly when they finally get to Joey's parents' house that they said suitcases, but again, that could have been John's and Joey's suitcase. So I'm just like, okay, if I'm going to Hawaii, I know I could survive off of one suitcase, but I know Joey, there's no way Joey went with one suitcase. And another thing that kind of boggled my mind, and I get where they're coming from, especially with the scene, but both Joey and John are taking a cab to go to Joey's parents' house when Joey decides to make a stop at her mom's, I guess, art gallery or something like that, and have the cab running. I just find that as like a waste of money. I'm like, yeah, of course, you're going to your parents' house to begin with, so why is there a need to stop by your mom's work to see if she's there to talk with her? And I get it. It's in that scene, we do get to see how others are perceiving the relationship between John and Joey, being a mixed couple, especially back in the 60s, that wasn't really seen a lot or even approved a lot. So you get to start seeing how other people are viewing John and Joey in their relationship in the wild kind of thing. But even saying that, I do have one problem. It seems like, at least Joey does seem to have one problem, even though she doesn't seem to have any issue dating, John, was a simple way of how she kind of described John. She'd call him Dr. John, I can't remember his full name. But she would never say, "This is my boyfriend, John," or at least that I don't remember. And that kind of just stood out to me. It's like, you guys are meeting Joey's parents because you want to let them know that you're planning on getting married to each other. But the way you introduce them is like, hey, this is this coworker, this interesting guy I met down in Hawaii, not, hey, this is my boyfriend, John. And then the other shoe on John's foot. John, when they get to Joey's house, makes a phone call to his parents, I guess just to let them know that he's arrived and he's safe and sound. But John's father asks him, is everything all right with Joey? And John answers, there's some issues with Joey, but I don't want to get into it over the phone. I'll write to you when I'm on the plane heading to Geneva. And that just kind of like, that just triggers something in me. I'm like, if you're going to tell me there's some issues with this girl that you're seeing, but then not explain what those issues are, especially over the phone. The phone's a little easier and better way to convey, the issues than over a letter. And plus, maybe to me, and I know back in that day it wasn't really a big issue, but you start triggering my anxiety. It's like, okay, now I'm going to start dissecting what's wrong with this girl. Why, what issues does she have? And then Joey's mom gets her first look at Joey's boyfriend. And Katharine Hepburn delivers it perfectly. Joey's sitting there talking to her mom. John walks out from her, Joey's father's office. And Katharine Hepburn's face just says it all. It delivers. She doesn't have to say any lines. She's coming to that realization that everything her daughter's been telling her has been about the man that just walked out of that door. And he's a black guy. And though a lot of people in this house do seem to have issues with what's going on between Joey and John, there's one person that I really think ramps it up, that really puts the races into the story of this, and that's Tilly, Joey's pretty much housekeeper. For some reason, she doesn't agree with the John and Joey relationship. And she is one of those people that whenever she sees someone, she's telling them that she's trying to spread her anger and hate about what's going on in the house. And she's the one that kind of sows confusion, especially with Joey's father when he first enters the house, because she's vague. She's playing the pronoun game. She doesn't really say what's going on. And of course that leads to Joey's father thinking of other things and not really comprehending what's going on and what the situation is. And at the start of this video, I did mention that I did not think this movie was as dark or deep as I thought it was going to be. And what I mean about that is, whenever I've heard someone talk about Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, it's really been the racism factor, the mixed couple factor, the how society viewed this mixed couple factor. And I was thinking that Joey's parents were these deep-seated racists that just could not handle John being with their daughter. And yeah, at first you do see that. I'm not going to say that they weren't racist, but it wasn't like, no, you can't be with my daughter because you're a black man kind of racist. They didn't come out straight out and say that. And when they finally spend time with John, you do see that they get an understanding of what their daughter sees in this guy. And their whole issue, at least to me, and this is a white guy giving this explanation and watching this type of film, but I really think the issue that Joey's parents had was the simple fact that these two met 11 days ago, and now they're planning on running away and getting married in Geneva, of all places. I guess that's where John works. So, yes, I'm not saying that Joey's parents weren't racist in some way or shape or form. But to me, that wasn't the basis for why, especially Joey's father, objected to what was going on between Joey and John. And then we get to see it from the other view. John's parents come into town and they get invited over to Joey's parents' place for dinner. And they're pretty much in lockstep with the way Joey's parents feel. John's parents seem to be the same exact way. Yes, they were shocked when they first meet Joey that John is with some white girl. But it doesn't seem to be based on they hated Joey for being white. They were of the mind of, you guys have only known each other for 11 days and you're already planning on getting married. And I apologize for Cotton because for some reason he's just wanting to bark a storm up today. And even though I do not agree with people marrying within 11 days, I guess I kind of see it from the point of view of Joey's father and even John's father. I admire John and Joey for standing up in what they believe in. They did not bend or break to the pressure that the parents are putting on them, even the moms before the moms pretty much switched sides and loved the idea of them getting together. But again, I think they knew exactly what they were getting into. They knew they were going to face some trials and tribulations, not from just the parents, but from society itself. And they were still stuck to their guns and wanted to get married. And the moment that made this movie for me, and which bumped it up in my opinion, is the speech we get from Matt Drayton, who plays Joey's father. He just delivers an outstanding performance. I felt what he was saying. I understood where he was coming from. I was like, yes, you get it. You have you're grounded in your opinion, but everybody else was trying to tell you what to think and what to do, not giving you that time to really think about what was going on in this situation. Because all this is happening within not even a day, matter of hours. That you're given you're put in this situation. You're told that your daughter's telling you that she's marrying this black guy, and they've only known each other for 11 days. It's a lot to process. It's a lot to take in. And I think he did an outstanding job in that speech. And if nothing else, if you haven't seen Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, I would recommend trying to see if there's a YouTube clip of that speech that he gives. It's top notch, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And after saying all that, guys, I'm going to give you Guess Who's Coming to Dinner 4 out of 5 stars. I have to say, I recommend, if you haven't seen this movie, you need to see this movie. It's, it gives you an outlook on society that, everybody should try to see everything that's going on. And this movie speaks to that. And it is very well done. The actors are outstanding. The writing is outstanding. It's, if you haven't seen Guess Who's Coming to Dinner yet, do yourself a favor and go see it. Or rent it, stream it. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can get it from Amazon Prime. All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the next review.